Really tell on each other, again because all parts of skin were covered in oil, but the guys were covered in peeling skin, as well as deep scratches and burns from the shipwreck itself, as well as many of them having shark bites. A few of the men tragically even died after being rescued, since they were so far gone from the exhaustion and dehydration that they couldn't be brought back. On August 3rd of 1945, out of the 1,195 sailors of the USS Indianapolis, 316 survived. This event left 879 men dead, and the Navy needed to blame somebody. As you can tell from this story, the Indianapolis was put into a pretty tricky spot, and a lot of people wanted to blame the Navy for it. So the Navy turned the blame towards the captain, Captain McVeigh. McVeigh was court-martialed, which again to us normal people is like a trial, on 2 counts, one for failing to order an abandoned ship and one for hazarding the ship itself. The one about failing to order the abandonment of the ship was dropped. However, they stuck with the charge of hazarding the ship. Hazarding the ship essentially means you did dumb stuff that endangered the ship itself. And the Navy's argument was that he did not properly zigzag. No, I'm not kidding. Whenever you're being chased by a submarine, the evasive maneuver for these ships is to go in a zigzag pattern so that if any torpedoes are fired, they'll miss. McVeigh was ordered to zigzag at his discretion, and according to the Navy, his discretion was not good enough. Even though it was midnight and they couldn't see any submarines around them, I guess they just wanted him to zigzag the whole way to Leyte. During this trial, they brought in Commander Hashimoto, the aforementioned captain of the submarine who sunk the Indianapolis, to which Hashimoto said that even if the captain did zigzag, it wouldn't have mattered because Hashimoto fired in that 6 torpedo pattern I mentioned earlier, specifically to hit a ship if it tries to zigzag. However, according to reports at the time, the translator who was speaking for Hashimoto lied about what he was saying. See, Hashimoto couldn't speak English, so while he said in his own language that it wouldn't have mattered, the translator kind of blurred the lines and said, well, if he had, then maybe my barrage that I have in order to hit zigzagging ships wouldn't have worked if he zigged his zag the right way. And while he wasn't given a charge or given any real punishment, he was kind of semi-demoted and eventually retired in 1949 as a rear admiral. However, the most damaging part about the court-martialing is that the government pointed all the blame for the Indianapolis on him. From then on out, McVeigh would receive letters throughout the year telling him that he was responsible for the deaths of the people aboard the Indianapolis. Around Christmas, he would get letters saying that, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, ours would be a lot better if you hadn't killed our son. Or on random days of the year, he would get mail saying, on this day my son would have been 32 if you hadn't have murdered him. The Navy wanted to effectively misplace blame for their own fault of leaving the Indianapolis unguarded, and they had done that as it seems. McVeigh was never able to get over the shame imposed by others, not to mention his own trauma having known the men of the ship and watching them die as well. And in 1968, McVeigh walked out onto his front lawn holding a toy sailor in one hand and his Navy-issued revolver in the other before shooting himself right there. I won't spend a ton of time on this next point, but how can I not mention it? This is so wild. So it had been known by those who were familiar with the story that everyone loved McVeigh. All of the members of the Indianapolis said that he was a great captain. He was loved by his family members, seemed to be a great guy. Well, the survivors group of the USS Indianapolis, who meet every year in order to have a reunion and talk about war stories, were determined to get McVeigh's record cleared. In 1996, a 6th grade student by the name of Hunter Scott began to do all of the math and get the records together to try to exonerate McVeigh. And the press began to run with this story, talking about how cool it is that a 6th grader is trying to clear the reputation of a World War II hero. And the survivors of the Indianapolis got in on this and started helping with the boys' campaign as well. They made several appeals to Congress during this time and even got Hashimoto, who, if you'll remember, is again the captain of the submarine that sunk the Indianapolis, to write letters not only saying what I mentioned earlier, that it wouldn't have mattered if he zigzagged or not, but also saying that after meeting the crewmen of the Indianapolis, McVeigh must surely have been an honorable man. I should also mention about Hashimoto, he showed up at Pearl Harbor on the 49th anniversary of the sinking of the Indianapolis and asked the men if he could pray with them about their fallen comrades, to which they accepted him as part of the group of the survivors of the Indianapolis. It should also be noted that throughout World War II, America lost a lot of different ships in a lot of different ways, but McVeigh was the only one who was ever court-martialed over it, and I primarily feel that's because of the political reasons and also because a lot of people died. While watching the congressional hearings for it, someone did make the case, kind of humorously, but a good point, that if they would have arrived to Leyte and had not zigzagged, like they just took a straight line and then got there safely, would you still court-martial him? Would you court-martial someone for not zigging their zag enough? So finally, in July of 2001, Captain Charles McVeigh was cleared of the sinking of the Indianapolis. And then, only 5 years ago, on August the 19th of 2017, the wreckage of the Indianapolis was found in the North Philippine Sea, 18,000 feet underwater, over 3 miles down on the side of an underwater mountain. Pieces of the ship itself were found scattered in miles across the underwater chasm, but there at the bottom of the Philippine Sea, the final resting place of the Indianapolis was seen. And with that concludes the story of the largest loss of life of a single ship in U.S. naval history. And while not as super climactic, and while definitely having stories of heroism, not having these massive swaths of turns or weirdness I normally like to cover, I was thinking about this story and I realized that there are currently only 2 survivors left alive today of the 316 who originally survived the wreckage. And whenever we stop talking about stories, we forget them and we forget the aspects of them. And while it is heartbreaking, that eventually they're going to be gone, I think it's important to continue those stories so that they're never really gone or they're never forgotten. And this is one of those stories that I feel like deserves to be remembered and deserves to be told. So that's why I'm telling it today. And I ain't got to tell you all that because you stuck around this long, so hopefully you also think it deserves to be told in some regard. And I think that's really cool because I think so too. And I just want to say thank you for watching. Like I said, this isn't a huge, over-the-top, grand story of religion or what's another weird, kooky topic I've done lately. I know there was something else I did that was in the realm or like about some disease or the trials around a disease or whatever. It's just a story from a war that I think deserves to be remembered. And I kind of want to do more of these. I have no idea what this is going to cut down to. I think it's going to be shorter than most of my videos, considering most of my videos are like an hour long. I think it's going to be shorter than that, and I wouldn't mind doing a few more of these shorter like one-offs. There's another story I really want to tell about a Japanese soldier in World War II who was in the jungle of Guam for... See, I don't know the story yet, so I can't give exact facts. I think he was there for 40 years. Like, he was stationed in Guam, and then they're like, all right, we'll come back and get you. And he just stayed there for 40 years, like hiding out, waiting for the military to come get him. That's a wild story, and I may tell that one because I like these little short one-off things. I'm also a big World War II nerd, so, like, I like slightly joke at the beginning of this video that, oh, well, I'll do my 8-hour World War II video if I really want to do an 8-hour World War II video. That would probably kill me in the algorithm, because I think I'm doing pretty good in the algorithm right now. If I took the time off that it would take to make that, it would probably be murderous for the channel, but it's also kind of worth it, just to do a video about like all the battles and like the Russian front and the Pacific front and everything else. Like it's really cool, to me at least. I love stories like this, and it's like World War II especially, because like I mentioned, we're kind of in the twilight of the survivors being able, I'd say in another 10 years there won't be anyone alive who was a part of that war, which is why I feel it's more important now than ever to tell it. But yeah, these are just side thoughts in my head. I like short one-off videos like this. I hope to do more in the future. There will be more like horror stuff soon. There's some ARGs I gotta cover. There is some ARG updates I gotta cover from the looks of it. Like Monument Mythos Season 2 just ended, so I kind of want to do something with that before Season 3 starts. But yeah, like some short one-off stuffs like this, and then horror going well. Also, check out the second channel link in the description below. I will be doing stuff on there soon as I get done with the doing stuff on here very quickly and all at once all the time. So hopefully you enjoy that. But I believe that should do it for now, at least. So, as always, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Bonnie. Okay, he better go pull like a big elite or like something that's really difficult.
Roof burning, what the fuck?
No.
But that's when I finally get Storm Strike.
Don't do it, Bonnie. Don't do it.
That blasted Storm Strike.
Don't go left. Don't go left. He's gonna do it.
Guys, at least I didn't die
No.
to a dark room.
Why?
Okay.
Why do I have to catch that? Why me? Why do I have to take that? That's his fault, not mine, okay? You don't